Alright, so this mission trip, it was really fun. This is my second time going on. Last year, we went out of state. So coming into this mission trip, I really didn't think it was going to be as exciting, since we thought last year that the best part was getting to know each other in the car, driving all the way to Manole, all the way to Missouri. But it was fun this year, helping other people and getting to know other youth from different parts of Texas. So in the end, I liked this better than the last mission trip, and I would like to go on another one.
This was my second mission trip. My first mission trip was to New Orleans 2 years ago. And this one was by far the best trip I've ever been on, just because of all the people we got to meet, especially in my group. Brian was my leader, but I met a guy named Carter. He's from Cyprus, and he's going to OSU this year, I think. But me and him really connected. We were going through a lot of the same things, and so it was really good to find somebody else who was in the same position as me and somebody who I could talk to about everything, and especially on the work side. And during our prayer walk, it was a very emotional night. They had a variety of stations set up where we'd all go pray at different stations, talk to God about what we wanted to happen in our life after we left the mission trip. And it was a very emotional night, but it was by far one of the most enjoyable trips I've ever been on. Thank you.
The mission trip this year was fun. It was my first one, and I thought there was going to be more people my age. I was the baby of the camp because you weren't supposed to be a freshman. But my group, they were strange, I'll say that. But I found someone that I could really get to know and bond with, and we were going through the same thing. And one of my favorite days on the mission trip was the prayer walk. It was a really emotional night for everyone because of the station, and you got to pray about certain things. And then I will say I cried a lot because I needed to let it all out. And who was my person? Oh, the lady that we did the housework on, her name was Miss Benson. She was really involved with her church, and I forgot what church she said, but she's the choir director at her church, the head of her finance committee at her church. She was the head of everything at her church. And whenever we had our little devotions during lunch, my group, we didn't say anything. By the afternoon, we were all tired. We didn't want to talk. And whenever we asked the questions after the devotion, she always had a really good answer. And then, I don't know what to say.
That was great. That's good.
Okay.
This was my first year at UMRB. I had a lot of fun. I met my group. There were a lot of people in the group that made us laugh. During the prayer walk, after everybody started crying, and it was hard for me not to cry. Once we were all done, we went outside and we talked to each other about everything that's been going on, and it was hard. And other than that, I had a really amazing time.
I'm Stacey Williams. You may know me as Dr. Paul's wife. But I went to UMRB as a youth, all 4 summers that I was allowed to go as a youth. So when we found out that FUMC was going to UMRB, I got really excited because I've never been back since I was a youth. So it was my first UMRB as an adult. I was a little intimidated because my carpentry skills aren't that great, but it was really an amazing experience to be able to bond with a group of youth from all over the state of Texas and to kind of relive that experience that I had as a youth. Our client, her name was Natalie, and this morning Gifford talked about an attitude and a spirit of gratefulness. And she was so incredibly grateful that we were there to paint her entire house dark green. And we built a handrail for her and replaced about half the boards on her back deck and painted her garage. It was a huge task, but by the end we got it done. But her spirit of gratefulness just has stayed with me throughout since July. I guess that's when we went. I don't remember. It's been so long ago. School started. Anyway, I just remember her being out there with us every day, even to the end when we were trying to finish up painting on Friday, the last day. She was out there with a paintbrush in her hand the whole day. And I had to force her to take water breaks. And just, you know, that whole spirit of gratefulness and gratitude just encompassed her life. And it was just an amazing thing to see the Spirit of Christ shining through her. And, you know, we go as missionaries out to serve, you know, to show the light of Christ to people, not always expecting to get it back. And that's one of the things I really love about Army is it always shines back at you. And so it's such a great experience for these youth to go. I encourage you all to go next year because it's amazing. Even if you have zero carpentry skills, you can still be a group leader, because that's me. All right, that's it.
It is a true blessing and an honor to be in ministry with these young people. And the whole week, I personally was inspired. Their passion in worship, their hard work in 100-degree heat, all day long, not complaining most of the time. Their willingness to leave it all behind, even their iPhones behind, most of them. But they literally sacrificed a week to be the hands and feet of Jesus Christ. And I know that they brought a new life to the residents. And as some of us have shared, especially I know at least for Kelly and I, it was amazing to see that light, like Stacy was talking about. You always think that you're going to go and do something great for them, and it's always, every single time, in my experience, the residents bless us way more than a fresh coat of paint on their house. We learn from their faith. And so these experiences are only possible because everybody here donated money or tools or both or time. So thank you so much. And I know that we will have an outstanding trip next year, and I know that we'll have even more youth and adults go, and we'll make more new friends and have more stories. And there was a donation bowl that was up there somewhere. Kay has it. So feel free to drop in some donations so that we can have more youth go next year. Thank you all for coming.